framework, we have to select the right framework, automation framework, and then once we have done all this groundwork, we are sure to have a success in automating our scenarios. So this was all about the best practices of doing the automations and everything. So now we should follow what practically steps we should follow and how we could automate. So like I said before, that a good test framework should be identified. So once we have identified the good framework, we have to see the test scripting standards, because now this is more of a, you can say, a development criteria, that while developing the test scripts, we have to write the test scripts for different automation tools. For example, like I said, we have to use VB scripts for in most of the testing tools like QTP, rational tools, and so we need to follow good scripting standards. So scripting standards are also similar to coding standards, and there should be some kind of checklist that should be developed for review of the test scripts also. So if we see that the software practices followed in the development of an application, they are quite, we should also follow those practices into the development of our scripts, because development of scripts is quite similar to development of an application. So whatever tool is chosen, ultimately a tool will only be as good as the process which is being used to implement the particular tool. The next point is to develop the reusable functions. Reusable functions are very, very important, and all the, you can say, separate attributes should be captured in different functions. So for this, I just mean that the steps among the steps which are quite common, they should be converted into a function, and then we can just call the function over and over again. This would also reduce the lines of code that we actually generate, and it will also bring in some kind of efficiency and also maintainability. For example, if we need to make some change, we will just change it in a one particular function, and it will be reflected in all the other code that we have. Next part is identification of common functions. So these are the common function and reusable functions differ in such a way that common functions are not functions which belong to a kind of technical flow. Common functions are functions like login script. There is a function which just does a login into your application. It will just start at the login screen, take the parameters like your username and password, put it over there, and then this function will simply end. Or maybe another function, another example of a common function is writing the log files. For example, this function can take the error message, the severity level of the error message, and the path and the name of the log file as input parameters. So depending on the requirements, more of such kind of common functions can be identified, and they should be written over there. The next point is the script should be extensible. By extensible, I mean that the script should be such that some kind of additional test cases can be added to a same script. So additional test cases make cater to testing enhanced functionalities of an existing feature as well as testing new features also. So this suite should have such an architecture that it is extensible both in terms of being able to add more functions and also in terms of being able to add test cases to an existing functions or existing scripts. This is a very important point that proper logs should be generated, because most of the times what happens is that we are running a test suite and then in the middle of the test suite it just fails, and we do not know the exact reason why it is failing. So we should generate proper logs. For example, sometimes what happens is that the script just fails. It's a kind of false alarm that fails because of, let's say, the network is not responding, or maybe any other factor, or maybe there is a flaw in the test suite, or maybe a mistake in setting up for the test, or there is an actual defect in the product. So we have to distinguish the exact reason why the script has actually failed. Was it an actual defect, or there was some kind of environmental factor which has caused it to fail? So so all this information can be gathered from the logs of its own. So, but a good test automation suite with ambiguous logging messages is worse than manual testing. I would say that if you are doing an automation testing and you got an error and you're not able to find out the exact cause of the error, so that is, you have wasted the entire time and effort, and you could have done it manually. So logging is very important. This is a point of which belongs to the framework, the capability of the framework. So any framework should allow selective test execution. So by selective test execution, I mean that it should provide the independence of executing individual test cases, or at least the test cases belonging to the same module. I can just mark a selection. I want to run only test cases 5, 6, 7. I will not run any other test case. So I should be able to select those particular test cases and run it. This is another important factor, that is to clean exit on abrupt script termination. Suppose what happens is that while executing the script just terminates, and before the termination, it has done some kind of changes in the application. So it should revert back those changes before it actually terminates, or maybe we can write some kind of flows over there, some kind of function that is called the ending functions over there, that as soon as the script is terminated, these kind of common functions would run and would backfire all the scripts that we have done. The next point is that there should not be any dependency on the individual test cases. They should be very much self-sufficient, and every test case should have its own entry and exit criteria, and it should not depend on any other test case. Whenever we write a test script, we should ensure that it is equipped with proper test data. So the test data may consist of a simple data import as required by the test cases to supply parameters to the functions for testing different conditions. Like, for example, there are some kind of numeric inputs or some alphanumeric inputs, non-alphanumeric inputs, etc. So, or it may, these are one way that test data. The other way of test data would be some kind of files, some specific files that needs to be supplied to the test cases to test particular functionality of the application. So, for example, the automation suite has to execute a particular test case which would require some kind of file uploading functionalities. So we should have files of all the different sizes. For example, we should have a file of 10 bytes, 64 KB, 1 MB, 30 MB, and so on. So we should have the test data ready before we actually start the automation. The other point is dynamic generation of names for temporary file and input data. So this is also very important, because whenever we are running the test cases through automation tool, so it generates some kind of temporary files or some kind of temporary input data. So we need to have a dynamic generation of the names. For example, if we have named it as ABC, and suppose there is one script which would run and result creation of a temporary file named as abc.xls. So this abc.xls, if there is already existing, it will provide an issue. For example, it may or may not be able to overwrite the existing file. So all the temporary files which are automatically being generated by the test suite should have a dynamic generation of the name. It can be any kind of alphanumeric string, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and every time it can increment by 1 for each new file. So this is also a very important point that we should keep in mind while generating the test cases. The test script should be very much user friendly. If you have written a test case and if you are assigned to some other project, any other tester from your company or from outside should come and read your test script and see what is actually happening. So all the comments should be there, and it should be in a very well written way. Then the error recovery scenarios should also be very much robust, because error recovery scenarios means that there is some kind of invalid input. For example, while you are going, while the test is running on, there is a pop-up from some other application which would result a test to fail. So these kind of error recovery scenarios should be able to handle those particular pop-up and should be able to remove that pop-up so that your test execution remains unaffected. And then separate scripts for cleanup. When you have done the entire, when you have completed your entire execution, so some kind of cleanup script should run, which should delete all the temporary files that were generated during the course of the execution, and delete all the temporary factors which would affect the future runs. So these that type of cleanup script should be written at the end of your automation script.